Oh, a party of heroes coming to enjoy an adventure. Well, welcome, party of heroes, to Shore Shack Adventures, where today our party is in a heap of shit. Let's roll to the history.
Last time on Shore Shack Adventures, everyone was kind of stuck on what to do when Gloria entered the room. Sho began speaking with someone, and Gloria began threatening us, and without knowing really what to do, Xander cast Shatter at 3rd level, and she canceled it out. This is the first meeting with any kind of high-level spellcaster that the party's gone up against, and everyone just froze. We didn't know what to do. Our exit was blocked by her and this orc emissary behind her and something else. What do? Do we jump into the room that was the office or fight our way past? Nobody really knows. But something has to be done, and it will be done tonight on this episode of Adventures in Shore Shack.
It was epic indeed. Today's episode, though, we're going to take a quick detour from the room and start with another good friend. After the introduction video of Shore Shack Adventures,
I will sharpen my axe on my enemy's face.
Hello, Sonia, my love.
Hey, where's that gold at?
What are we doing here, man?
Jesus, Jehoshaphat! Like, where did this fucking hat come from?
Come on, Conan. Let's go.
It feels good to be back.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Make surfboards with my bunyip.
Shall I play you a tune?
I don't even care about the gold anymore.
so as mentioned before, we are going to move over to our friend Sparkmaster, who has been waiting atop the secret entrance to the dining hall. The goblins used to come out and in without the main large gem transport entrance, and the one in which you all came in through. It was a tight squeeze, and Sparkmaster didn't think he'd make through. So, before we get started, Sparkmaster, what have you been thinking up top? It's later in the day. You've come across a few goblins to come look at this hole in the ground that, if you do recall, you've stabbed at the hole a few times with a dagger, making it very recently disturbed, which all of the goblins who come by seem to take note of. You and Conan have been hiding behind a rock. At some point, you grabbed a goblin, smothered him, pulled him back, and just as he was about to scream, what exactly did you do to that goblin?
I decapitated him swiftly.
Indeed you did. In the bloody goblin mess, you sit there for some time, thinking, considering. Give us a little recap of the last hour, or maybe 30 minutes above the secret entrance.
So over the past hour, 30 minutes, I've been basically trying not to be seen by goblins. I ended this goblin's life because it was clear he was about to alert others. I was going to ask him for information, and some information on how many goblins might be inside, how many goblins might be around the front entrance. That was my plan. However, failing that, I had to end life. One of this maybe bothered me a bit was how unseemly pleasant it had become to engage in this bloodshed. It's not something that I'm accustomed to, and it bothers me, yet I couldn't help somewhat enjoying it.
This is very uncharacteristic of you in a way.
Yes.
So, yeah. Is this how does it feel, I guess, in a sense of who your character was and the thing that you served to get enjoyment from this? Is this something that you can shrug off, or is this something that's a huge 180 to the character who you were, knowing that these are probably evil characters? If there is
This
such
is probably, well, the original Sparkmaster certainly would have not hesitated to end evil characters' lives where necessary. The pleasant feeling from the bloodshed is something that he's never had before, and seems to be new. And it's new enough that he's unsettled by some of these feelings, some of these things he felt in the moment.
So as you begin to explore the corners of your mind with the recently slain goblin carcass near you, atop the secret entrance, flashbacks of a large golem, titan-like creature begin to consume your mind's eye. The fiery red eyes, the foot crushing your parents' home as it comes down to meet the ground, the gasp in your core that you must have made when you saw that building that you grew up in collapse. Splintered wood flying by in your memory starts to sting in your temples, almost like the boards of your memory are hitting you. Pushing back to that, in that titan, that thing that was the biggest change of your life since a few days ago. Where does your mind go? What more do you see?
I think my mind is going towards a changing of how I view that previous event. Sparkmaster has always been driven by what had happened, driven by a desire to pursue a higher calling and to rid the world of beings like that from being able to wreak such havoc. And it certainly seems over the past few days that while he's still motivated by that event, perhaps there is some more desire for revenge and carnage as opposed to having a nobler purpose. He's still driven by the desire for revenge, but it's changing. The nature of it is changing.
You hear a voice in your head start to creep up, your own voice in a way but different. And then it begins to go sour in tone. You have spent a long time growing stronger, more powerful. To what end, Sparkmaster? Do you no longer want that revenge?
I want the revenge very much.
More than anything else?
More than anything else.
You are not lying to me now, are you? After all, I am just you.
Why would I lie to myself?
How would it feel to crush him, like he did your mother? The sounds of your mother's screaming
I imagine
and then whimpering starts to fill your mind.
creature would be the most thrilling victory I could ever partake in.
Roll me a Constitution save.
Nine.
And then describe to me how that feels to hear. Like, how long has it been since you've seen your mother at this point?
Probably over 5 years.
So it's still pretty fresh. And then to hear a very audible crying and wailing. Something's kind of off about it. But it's most definitely your mother's voice.
I think at first it gives me goosebumps, and it's very unsettling. But this quickly transforms into almost adrenaline, almost an adrenaline-induced obsessive desire for revenge.
I can feel your rage grow. Oh. So what do you want from me? I can do so much
You mean
for
what do I
you.
want
I
from
can tell
myself?
you- Of course. Who do you think you're talking to?
Doesn't sound like it's entirely me.
Oh, it doesn't? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It depends on how much assistance you're willing to give me in my mission.
Oh, I can tell you so much. So much about history. About your poor mother. About how to lay waste to that evil beast who ended all that you knew and loved. But we both just met, so I can't spoil it all. What I can tell you, though, is of a grand device that can be used by you. To
Where
take
would
care
one
of
find such a device?
creature. Ah! Just follow your eyes. And in the moment of pondering that, and kind of getting annoyed probably with the riddle, your eyes and your head immediately, and the rest of your body don't. Looking down at the hole in which your fellow friends went down. And you can't move your head. Your body you're in complete control of. But your head you cannot move.
And it's looking towards the hole.
Directly at the hole. And tell me what you imagine in that moment. You know, there's a lot of vague descriptions and things, but also the memories of your friends just going down there and not hearing anything back from them thus far. This the image, the feeling of revenge. What is it that Spark Master is thinking about in this moment of also not having control of his own face?
Yeah, he's extremely curious about what he's talking to right now. He suspects it's not him entirely. He still does not know about what sort of being could cause him to lose control of his face or go into the fetal position on the combat field. But now he's really thinking, what is in the center of this mountain? It's clearly Julian appears to be involved in whatever's going on here. It's involved with some bad things that are happening to the island. Is there something in here that could be of use to me? And how many people am I going to have to dispense with in order to get my hands on this thing?
You sit there in silence. You have an opportunity. You can ask things. You can move. But your head is stuck.
But I can't move my head is stuck.
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to. I'm still talking to myself or whoever's in there. Is that being still communicating with me?
You don't hear anything, but you could always try.
All right, I understand. I get. I'm
Your
not too
head's
dull.
immediately released.
I get there's something in there. It's immediately released. Okay. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm always here.
Are my friends in danger?
You have friends.
My traveling companions.
Ah, so now they're not your friends. I'll note that. And yes,
I feel they're friends, but needless to say, some of the more recent things to come out about our relationship, I feel have made them skeptical of me. But I still consider them to be friends.
oh, that is probably for the best. Yes, they are in danger. They are currently confronting something. Someone's.
Are there any other goblins around?
You could make track of one if you wanted to, real quick.
Could I grab one without making myself too noticeable?
With my help, you sure can.
How do you propose to help me?
Just go do the thing that you want to do.
I still want to get information from a goblin on if there's any more entrances. I can't fit in this one. The front door is too well guarded. I want to try to find another way in.
Okay. Let's say that you roll me a stealth check, and with the help of this creature, we'll give you advantage. And I will say that you could probably squeeze through this crack, maybe, at least from the entrance, but who knows how far in you'll be able to make it.
My stealth check is a 10.
All right. You're able to
You did
walk
2
up
rolls?
and you fi-
I did 2 rolls, yes.
Okay.
You walk up and you're able to find another goblin who's sitting there asleep against a rock. He's supposed to be keeping his post. And you look up, and there's 2 more further out who are, again, overlooking kind of an overhang. But this one's a little further back. You creep up to him with no problem. He's sitting there, not quite like this, but more like sideways. he was sitting up. Now, in a dreamland of wherever goblins dream about, you can see his mouth muttering, but no words or tones are coming out of it. He's breathing, still alive. Doesn't notice you standing in front of him.
I'll draw my dagger, put my hand on his mouth, wake him up. When he wakes up, tell me what I need to know. Whisper it only, or I'll gut you like a fish. It's an intimidation.
All right. No need to roll intimidation check. You are very intimidating in this moment. His eyes bolt open. As the blade presses against his throat, you hear a whisper. Do it. Like a fish, huh? And he's like, the goblin is just, but then settles down. He's quiet. As you pull your hand off of his mouth, you come to the conclusion he doesn't understand you.
He doesn't speak common.
He does not.
Oh, I gotta knock this guy unconscious now.
Do it.
Yeah, I'll bash his head on the rock, knock him out.
You just feel this relief kind of flow over your shoulders. You do notice, though, as you knock his head on the rock does move slightly.
I'm gonna try to move that rock a little more. Can I slide it?
You try to slide it and it doesn't budge. But it seems loose in a weird way and light. You take a second and you try to move it another way and you can't quite figure it out. Give me a survival check real quick to see how long it takes.
11.
Okay. Yeah, it takes you, I'd say probably 2 minutes. Not entirely quick work. You can hear other goblins around you, but you focus on it. And it turns. Instead of sliding in one way, it kind of just pivots and turns off of a bush that's sitting there. And you see a better constructed entrance. It's a little wider, and it's not just a dug hole, but it's actually supported with beams around to make sure that it doesn't collapse in itself. And but it goes rather straight down. With some laddering on the sides of the wall of the cave or the wall of the entrance.
Can I see how far it goes?
No, not from where you are.
Is there a light down there, or is it totally dark?
There's a flickering light on the bottom.
Any sounds? Any goblin-like sounds, orc-like sounds?
Give me a perception check.
How do I click the button, it doesn't roll. Okay, wait, here we go. Got it. That is a 15.
You lean down to try to discover what this is, and looking down, you see that the ladder at least continues to what seems like the end, or at least where the light seems to be coming from. You can see the ladder there. There is no noise that you can perceive, though, other than that of rats and things like this. That must be living or using this cave as a transport.
I'm going in.
All right. As you climb down, go ahead and describe to us how you do it. And then I'm going to go get my dice because they're needed.
All right. So I climb rather carefully. Sparkmaster's not the best with heights. He's very deliberate in climbing down this laddering, 1 foot after the other. Very careful. Try not to make too much noise in case there might be someone on the way down. Periodically, as I get lower and lower, I am stopping to take note of what I might hear. If there's any sign of any sort of guard or patrol down there at the bottom, I want to be prepared and not necessarily tip my hand that I'm there.
You do not hear anything as you're going down except for yourself. But as you make your way, you come to a sheet that seems to be blocking the cave entrance from you and whatever that light source was. So you have this ambiance of a pink light that has you. It seems you can tell from your perception, just being there, that it's an open air kind of room, probably about 20 feet by 20 feet, 20 feet by 30 feet, something like this. You are on the inside wall of some sort of tapestry.
Is there a hole in the tapestry anywhere? I want to inspect the tapestry for a hole.
You can make a hole.
First, I want to see if there's one already there.
There is not.
What about the side? Is there a side that I can look around?
Putting your head kind of right next to it, you notice the tapestry extends for about 10 feet to either direction.
Mm-hmm.
Placing you about the middle of the room. Still no noises coming from the room except the sound of flickering fire.
Nothing on the other side. I'll take my dagger and make a small hole. Very quietly.
Just then, your dagger pierces through. You look around. You realize you need a bigger hole, so you pierce through a little bit further. You put your face against it again. Now, from a geometry perspective, a dragon's face is not great to look through a tapestry hole and get it right to its eye because you have a really long snout. And so you're trying to get your head there,
But isn't the eye kind of on the side of my head a little bit? And can I turn it?
Okay, that's better imagery. That's better imagery. You look sideways. Okay, that's better. You're looking through. You get a little nauseous in your head because when you go cross-eyed, it kind of hurts your head. You get a little bit of that, but you're able to see a desk in front of you with a few papers on it, a bunch of hay-type furs and bedding in the other side of the room, and a large circular cow spot, let's say, type rug in the middle. There's no one else in the room. There's a door on your right side.
Inside the room, there's a door on the right side?
Yep.
All right. The room's totally secure. No one's in there. I'll just cut through the tapestry.
Okay. And right as you are about to make that cut, you have a dagger, you said?
Yeah.
Right as you're about to make that cut, you hear very faintly from the other room, "Ice knife!" Now, the rest of you, we jump back into
knows
the
what
big
that
room.
means.
We jump back to the rest of you amidst a heated or cold-hearted conversation with Gloria and her orc friend, an emissary. As the conversation has escalated, as you heard in the recap, There was a shatter that was dispelled before it could even fizzle off. Then, Soomper. Bold Soomper. Goes
Okay.
ice, and as you're casting this, give me a perception roll first off.
Right. Ooh. It's 18 plus. Sorry, I need to open my character. I'm not sure if 18.
No worries.
would be enough.
That's enough. As you start to cast it, you notice your eyes, your vision start to go slightly red, and you can feel the skin on your eyebrow and eyelid start to grow over your eyes. But with a perception roll of that high, you look over at the orc emissary as you're casting this ice knife, and you see a blood tear roll down his face. And he grins and just licks it. He's casted something, and your eyes are starting to grow together.
Trying to grow together?
Yes, like the skin's growing over your eyes.
Oh, I see.
To distract you.
Eyes are like melting together.
Cyclops.
Yeah.
Enough to distract you. Roll for ice knife, and you're going to be rolling with disadvantage, sir.
All right. Not good. So with disadvantage, it'd be 11 total to hit.
Okay. As you flick it, you don't hit them, but you get it close enough to hit a hanging tapestry kind of on the wall as well. It looks like a big flag of some sort. And as you strike it, the whole flag just freezes and then just crumbles and begins to fall into icicles or ice ashes onto these individuals. If you miss them, does it do any damage? Does that have damage?
If it hits them within any creature within 5 feet of that hit. So if anything within 5 feet of that tapestry would be injured. So that might be Sparkmaster. If it's the same tapestry, of course.
Different tapestry, don't worry. Well, I guess you don't see Sparkmaster there afterwards. Go ahead and roll damage.
All right. 2d6.
Then you hear Gloria in reaction to this. Ah, a winter day. So, is it the fight you all want? Coming into the hornet's nest, I guarantee you it might sting a bit.
I mean, we don't want to fight, but when I see somebody with blood pouring out of their eyes and they're being all freaky, I just kind of shoot ice knives at them.
The rest of you also feel your eyes starting to go hazy. And so when Super mentions this, it also triggers something in your mind like, okay, this isn't just me, this isn't just my face, this isn't just my perception. Your eyes are going to be too.
Okay.
Somebody like watching a video or something? There's a bunch of crazy.
That's the casino.
No, I'm in a casino right now.
Okay.
Why not?
So I was waiting for an earthquake to start, which is I think where we left off last time, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. We're in new stuff now. It seems like.
Oh yeah, with what happened with Show last time with the mask, right?
So last time, and correct me if I'm wrong, my screen just moved on me. But last time there was a conversation between your genie Show and some other creature or entity. That creature entity ended up leaving the scene, cut the lights out, and then dancing lights had erupted. Thank you to Xander for casting those to illuminate the room for everyone involved. At some point, there was a lot of knocking at that back door entrance to the main entrance of the cave, and there was some sort of an earthquake happened amidst all of this from behind and down in the cave. And then Super said ice knife.
Okay.
Okay. I thought I had asked. I'd like muttered for help from this genie, and that had caused an earthquake. But maybe I just had equated those things in my head incorrectly. That there was another earthquake going on, or
we can make that happen. I do recall this now, and I just didn't record this in my note. But let's say after Ice Knife went on, there wasn't that conversation from Gloria. Gloria didn't say, "Oh, you want to fight?" Instead, the whole cavern started to shake. She went down into the defensive position instead. The snow still fell atop them.
Throughout
the eye thing is still happening to everybody, and they're more or less in a cautious stance rather than a discussive stance in that 6-second moment.
Gotcha. In the peak of the chaos, I'd like to cast Disguise Self on myself. And I currently look like a goblin, and I would like to transform myself from a goblin into Solomon. And then in doing this, also Red Cloud would lose his invisibility wherever he is.
Okay.
And transform myself into Solomon, I would like to address Gloria. And I would like to say, Gloria.
She looks up. You see her eyes catch yours as the earthquake around you begins to simmer down, though still shaking the room. Catches your eye and seems a tad in shock. Where exactly are you placed in the room?
So I was sort of trying to keep out of the way and in the back and amongst the other goblins. So I was not standing like with the party. I was probably huddled against a wall or something like that, cowering.
Okay, that sounds good. And for those who might not know, Solomon was an older person in this world that had fell in ill health due to the party. Also was an assassin trying to kill the party. But we'll discuss that probably in some dialogue after.
So transforming into Solomon, I'd like to address Gloria and say, Gloria, my dear, I'm sorry. I have to drop this ruse now. As much as it would pleasure me beyond end to see you dispatch of this group, I have to let you know that this has been a ruse and a ruse of my doing.
And you can see her hands were clenched tight and just about to probably cast something. She takes them down and looks at you and says, Solomon, I wasn't expecting you. What do you have to do with these scoundrels knocking at my door?
Well, let me explain. By the way, to any suspicion you might have of my sudden appearance, you are looking just as lovely as you were at the ball. You've gotten much done since then. But to answer your question, this group is a group of captives of mine. I'm here on orders from Julian, and it was my intention never to reveal my presence here to allow you to slaughter this group of lambs and go about the rest of your day. You see, Julian sent me here on a mission that is something of a usual of mine. A goblin had invaded your workforce, but something was unusual about this goblin. He was incredibly charismatic, and he seemed to be acting as if he had help. He was very clever. And he had been fomenting revolution here in this cave, and he had been reporting to Ironton. Now, spies placed by Julian informed me of all of this. I'm only here on his orders. You see, it's through his camp that this dwarf and whatever party of saboteurs he's working with managed to invade your camp. And he was hoping to avoid any sort of discomfort or shame or perhaps some well-placed scrutiny from you onto him for having allowed this leak insecurity to have taken place. I was to discover the mole, the goblin, and whatever aid he might have had, magical or just in terms of compatriots, and kill him without your knowledge that Julian had ever failed on his part and allowed this saboteur into your midst. The goblin who was, in fact, fomenting the revolution is the one that you so beautifully dismembered in front of us just moments ago. As you might remember, he seemed to be on something of an insane twist, thinking he was some kind of a messiah or revolutionary, calling himself the king. And for whatever reason, your goblins were eating it up, which I suspect was some kind of a magic. But in any case, I digress. This group before you are the group that installed him here, and they represent most of a party that has been bothering Julian for some time and has been working, we believe, with sources in Alabast to upset Julian's plans.
Well, then this is
In any
perfect,
case,
isn't it, Solomon?
It has just come to my attention in this room that one of them is in contact with this supernatural entity that I have a, say, vested interest in discovering.
Solomon,
If I
slow
were to allow
down
you to
for
kill
one
them all
moment.
now, I might never learn who it was or how they are in contact with this entity, but I think you might know what I'm alluding to.
Slow down for one moment, Solomon. You seem to have gotten yourself in quite a jumbling mess of words. Just so I can understand, this party came here with you? Or with this goblin?
This party came here with me. They had knowledge of the goblin here, I guess. And they were going to come and kill him, and then they were going to die. And I think they knew as much. But I have leverage on them all that compels them to do so.
He was a bold goblin. With not much constitution as the neck exploded from his body. But now that we have them all here, should we just kill them as you had planned?
No. This is exactly why I revealed myself. Should we have just killed them, you would have never known of my involvement, and Julian would never be as embarrassed as I have made him now. No, they can't die. I need to know which one of them is in contact with Cabril Ali al-Salazi. Or he.
What was that, Solomon?
You know, old Cabril Ali al-Sara Zalazil. That old.
Oh, yes. Cabril al-Z al-Sara al-Zazil.
And as you might know, the maker of my mask, well, he has business to attend to with old Cabril.
Indeed. I heard him bad-mouthing him not long ago. The follower of his, we keep in our council. It seems that he has also been breaking boundaries of sorts. Something that's a bit of a side business for myself. So you say one of these is followers of his?
Would seem so. I'm not sure which one, and I'm not sure what allows them to stay in contact with him. But I intend to find out. As you know, I have my methods in telling people to tell the truth.
Interesting. Roll me a deception check, first off.
Yes. Okay, I think that'll work. It says 16 plus, or 15 plus 3, 18 altogether.
Okay, for the rest of you, Xander. You are sitting in this room. You witness a hell of a lot. There is an ice knife. There is an earthquake. Red cloud suddenly appears. Solomon is behind you. What the hell's going through your mind?
Well, even though it is Solomon, the speech pattern and everything I still recognize. And I've seen this ruse before with her. As I was...
let's roll an intelligence check or an insight check, up to you, to see if you really do pick up on Show's funny business.
All right, what do you want? Intel or an insight? They're both the same.
All right.
No, I do not. That's a 5.
Well, then explain what you are thinking without knowing this knowledge, because that's what makes D&D fun.
All right. Well, he is behind me. And if I look over my shoulder to see who's talking, and I see that masked mofo back there, maybe
Just
start.
as you are, your eyes are starting to blood over as well. First, I'll guess, are you thinking tactically, or are you thinking emotionally in this moment?
Self-survival always trumps all. So am I taking any damage from the eye closure, or is that just
No, not at all. Give me a 5-second. I mean, this is a hell of a moment, but you still only have 6 seconds to experience it. So what aspect do you focus on? What's the immediate thought that goes through your mind as small pieces of snow and ice kind of crumble around you?
Well, I mean, that was a pretty big conversation that just took place. It's a.
Are you frozen solid, or are you on the edge to do something as the conversation is taking place? Like, you're in a state of disbelief, no doubt. You're in a state of being overpowered and surrounded, no doubt. What's your knee-jerk reaction of what to do or what not to do? Or you have to talk yourself down from anything? Or are you just deer in headlights at the moment? And if so, what do you look like?
Well, he just had a spell completely cast aside, which sucks. And now he's going blind. His exit, he knows, is on the other side. And he feels that if I'm about to be in the dark, then everybody else should be too.
Let's see.
Now, are the eyes closing up to where he's going to go blind? Does he feel like his vision is going to go away, or is it just making it more difficult?
It's definitely making it more difficult at this point. Roll an Arcana check for me.
Man.
Get a 10 and you'll know.
A 13.
You've heard of this, and it is a curse of sorts that doesn't last too long.
All right.
At a high enough level, let's say it could make you blind. Namina, what is it that you're thinking? I think Xander is deer in headlighting, whether he means to or not. It's a tough situation, and I can't say I wouldn't be.
I'm trying to assess whether this man that appeared semi-close to me is friend or foe, because I have no idea who he is. And from there, I kind of take a couple steps back, and if I can find something to possibly kind of blend into the shadows behind or with, I think I'm going to try to do that. Because it's dark, right? The lights went out, right?
I have dancing lights up.
Dancing lights up. You have two options. You can hide behind the boiling cauldron, or over with some shifty-looking chained goblins.
No, I'd rather do the cauldron.
All right. Well, luckily it is black, and you are as well.
Cool.
Go ahead and slack me your stealth roll.
Okie dokie. That is
Gloria
a
stands up and says to you, Sho, "Where is Bald Barak when you need him? Is he aware of this spy in his midst?"
This was a mission that I kept entirely to myself. Once again, Julian was very serious about the clandestine nature of this, obviously, as he did not simply entrust you to find this spy.
Ah. So, how would Julian feel if we kept these individuals alive? Were they part of your mission? He is a
My mission,
ruthless one with traitors, if you will.
my mission involved sealing the whole of information and killing the spy and the revolutionary. He wasn't clear as to what I would do with these, and I have no doubt that ultimately their fate will be death. But it simply cannot be in this room now, or at least I implore you to resist the urge to end their lives now, because they might be important later. I would be
Well,
endlessly in your debt.
She looks you over. There's a pause in the moment for a second. Super, I don't know what you're thinking, and we don't have enough time to keep stalling and asking everybody. But she will say, we can keep them alive. I'll give you my word on that. And I have a few ways that they might be useful. As for the part that you mentioned, not letting any of the knowledge get out, well, I also agree. So, Solomon, since you are here and you've made the long journey nonetheless, why don't you join us? The Great Vitor, Subtara, and the rest of the crew for a status meeting. We can shackle them up, put them behind bars, keep them there for a while, and probably discuss them in the meeting.
I would be honored you would have my presence.
Well, it is said then. She goes ahead and starts to cast something. Does anyone want to take a reaction to do anything?
Um,
Ooh, I guess I gotta fucking roll this, huh? Sparkmaster, you are behind a door. You have been listening and can hear only about half of these conversations. What in the hell are you doing in that room?
Well, I started out, I wanted to read the paper on the desk. Or maybe take it for later.
Well, explain to me then, from Sparkmaster's standpoint, of hearing behind the door, ice knife, and then a bunch of commotion, an earthquake, and then you just going toward a paper. Justify that.
So do I have an opportunity to inspect the paper before any of this starts, or this is all starting immediately?
This starts as you slice through the
Okay.
thing, still in your hidden entrance, not
Got
yet
it.
even into the room.
Okay. So I do then adjust my priorities, and I want to go near that door, and I want to listen more carefully, but not give away my position.
Okay. You hear a lot of voices that you find familiar, and a lot of voices that you find unfamiliar. It seemed to be a conversation among two people who are pretty cool and level-headed amidst whatever large in scope earthquake just happened. There seems to be some sort of a negotiation going on. A negotiation with prisoners. I think with your passive perception, you can gather about that much.
Okay. Do I have any indication of what this room might be used for? Is this possibly, is this a room with cells? Is this going to be where prisoners might be taken, or what is this? What room am I in?
It looks like a living quarters and office.
Got it. And I heard that they are going to be partaking in a status meeting.
You heard something about some sort of a meeting and locking prisoners behind bars. Unsure of whether the prisoners are your friends or the people who your friends took captives. But judging that there are other voices speaking and neither of them are your friends, you could probably come to the assumption that your friends have been captured.
Yeah. So my goal here is I want to remain hidden. I want to know who's got the key for the cell. I want to know where that's going. And I'm wondering, can I be the one to possibly break these guys out, take them out through the back door if something goes, if things simmer down a little bit. Nobody knows I'm here. I seem to have a little bit of an advantage there.
Okay. And in that case, you do start rummaging through some of the papers. You're able to see a small and shittily drawn map of the immediate landscape. And you can roll an intelligence check for me to see if you can understand where you are on the map. But it seems like there's one layer and a spiral staircase down to another layer, and a spiral staircase down to another layer with a very large hole in the ground. It seems like some sort of the mining operation position.
And I rolled a 15.
Okay. Yeah, you can pinpoint the room that you're in and kind of where it's positioned. And there's an outdoor dining hall right behind the door in front of you. It seems to be directly connected to the spiral staircase down. And off of an offshoot of a very narrow hallway, you can find a place where shackles and bars are. None of the writing you can actually understand, but you can get a sense of it based on the drawing.
Okay. I'll take this map with me.
Okay.
Just in case.
There are a few other writings that you gather, none of which are in English, or none of which are in common. Pardon. But you go ahead and pocket them anyway.
Okay, perfect.
You look around for a key. Give me a interrogation check.
Interrogation check. What's interrogation?
Investigation.
Investigation. Got it. Okay. That is a 10.
The only thing you do find with the 10 is there is an incomplete helmet, very similar to the one that you gave Hawk Shinkink, but with feathers that are being sewn into the top of it in a headdress type fashion, but incomplete. Next to it is a big pile of feathers.
Do I get the sense this is some sort of magical helmet being constructed?
You get no sense of that, unless you would like to cast a spell, but you get no sense of it right away.
Okay.
Immediately.
Does it look goblin-sized or
Goblin
human-sized? Goblin-sized. Okay.
Definitely not draconic-sized.
Yes. Okay. Of course not. I do want to scout the room out. Is there anything in this room that looks suitable to hide? I guess one could always go behind a tapestry again, and into the. Okay.
All right. I will leave you to think about that. The rest of you. Oh, Lord. I should probably just roll this on the thingy-mabob, huh? Doo-doo. Oh my gosh. How much HP do you guys have?
Uh-oh.
I'm full.
I don't care. How many points?
39.
29.
Oh, jeez. That's 10, 15. All right. Well, show I don't care about yours, luckily. Namina, what are you at?
39.
Ooh, I should probably make an order here. Namina's kind of hidden. Super, how many health you got?
46.
46. You fall asleep. Xander, how much health do you have?
36.
You start to grow groggy, but pull yourself back. Gloria tells to the compatriots and to Solomon, let's bound them up and bring them down to shackles. Then we'll get on with our meeting. You hear this as well, Sparkmaster.
I'm at 27.
All right. The orc gentleman comes up and grabs some leather bindings that he has around his belt and starts to unravel them, walking over to you, Xander.
This is an
Show,
orc.
what do you do?
I'm sorry, did you just ask me?
Yeah.
If he's just going to go start binding people, if it looks like he's just going to start doing that, like, I'm not going to stop him. I might sort of approach, I'm going to, like, kind of walk with him and look authoritatively and disapprovingly at the party, like as if I'm in charge of him.
Okay. Yeah. And then Xander, the orc comes directly up to you, and your deer in the headlight look fades for a second, as you moment now is the time of action if there ever was one. Roll me a strength check.
$14.
You struggle quite a bit as he grabs you behind the neck, starts to pull you down and push you to the ground. You're able to scramble up and kind of dart for a few feet. Unless you would like not to resist. And what
No,
would
there
Xander
was no
do?
resist. I just
Okay. He goes ahead and puts you face down on the ground, takes your hands behind your back, and starts to bind them and wrap them. Not only around in a circle, but weaving in between, which you know would make a tighter bind. And a tougher one to get loose from. It seems he's not a dummy when it comes to knot tying. Super, I'm sorry to say you're asleep. Namina, is there anything that you would do in this moment?
Right now, no. I'm gonna watch. If I'm hidden, I'm gonna watch. If they haven't noticed me, I'm gonna continue watching.
What was your stealth check disadvantage for me?
Disadvantage?
Yes. I think you're exhausted. I forgot about
no.
that.
Was I exhausted? I'm pretty sure I fixed that
You
somehow.
never slept.
there was no long
In
rest.
order to take exhaustion off, you need 24 hours of rest.
24 hours. Wow. Okay. Well then, another one. It'd be 15.
All right. Let's see. Oh gosh, I like rolling for NPCs. Oh no. Gloria. Uh-oh. You said a 15?
Yes.
I don't know if you can see that. That's
Oh
a
wow,
15,
that's lame.
and he has a +1 anyway. So he catches you, and then he gives you the eye. You see him. Is there anything you'd like to do? He walks over to you and grabs you while you're trying to think if you should do anything.
I would like to walk over.
Yep.
Sorry about that. Like while this is going on, I'd like to walk over to Xander after he had already been tied up, immediately afterwards. And I would like to act as if I'm checking the firmness of the knot in his hand, and also sort of intent, like I'm going to act like I'm fucking with him a little bit to sort of give more of an excuse why I'm over there. So I'm checking the firmness of the bindings. I'm also telling him, I've got an especial eye on you. I've got just a feeling that you're the one to watch. And as I'm pulling on his bindings behind his back, I would like to try to slip him a dagger in such a way as to allow him to cut his bindings with his hands still tied, if that seems possible.
Xander, what is it that you're wearing in the moment?
Well, he always wears his cloak, and he has his basic leather armor.
What do the sleeves look like? Where would you attempt to hide such a dagger?
I
in
mean,
your hand?
Well, if his hands are behind his back and his back is to the wall, that's what the kind of hope I was hoping for. Like if nobody was looking at his hands.
He is. You can put him there. Let's go ahead and say you lift him off the ground. He's face down on the ground right now.
Gotcha.
Let's say you lifted him up while you were picking on him, threw him against the wall. Strangely close to the more feral goblins, who then kind of like pull at the chains and just snarling at the teeth. Close enough that you can all smell their breath, but not close enough where they can eat you, Xander. He's able to sneak you a dagger. Roll me a sleight of hand check.
All right. Yeah. Plus 0 though, so it's just 14.
Okay. Any conversation you all are having?
Between myself and Xander.
Yeah.
Oh, just what I said, that I've got a feeling you're the one to watch out for. I have my eyes on you.
Okay.
And I'll yell back at him, "You son of a bitch, we trusted you."
You are an idiot.
Namina, you get pulled down and you start to get tied as well. Red Cloud, you can see sitting there holding his hammer as freaking tightly as you can. You can see the bulges in his arm as he's cornered, doesn't know what to do. Pissed off. Launches his hammer at one of the feral goblins. Misses completely as it hits the wall and just starts crumbling down. You can see a certain fear in everyone's eyes as they look up, looking for the chains to make sure that they didn't break. And so far, they haven't. He then falls to his knees and waits to get bound as well. Once bound, you are all led down a spiral staircase by these two individuals in complete darkness. The orc carrying Sunker over his shoulder. Xander, you probably thinking about Conan, Sonia. You go down.
What I do want to do on this trek.
Yep.
So going to look over at Solomon and say, "Solomon, you are a dick. My sweaty balls you can lick." And I'm going to give Show bardic inspiration.
Okay. Very strange, inspiring words, but we'll see what he does with them. And then you hear the goblin or the orc say, "Oh, shut up." You begin to move down. I'd say almost 100 feet. You all slip up on occasion, fall to your knees, fall to the ground. You're bound. It's tough to catch yourself. Roll me a dex check. Anyone who gets lower than a 10 will take 4 points of damage. Explain to me how you fall.
A dex save.
What'd you roll?
Freaking +7 on Dex and get an 8 total.
I'm. Oh man. I got
That's a Sparkmaster
17.
roll right there.
Sure is.
Yeah,
And that
that's
one.
a Sparkmaster roll.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, good, Xander. God, I love nat ones. Explain your fall.
Well, yeah. So is it a pit or is it stairs?
Stairs.
Stairs. Well, that's easy. He gets bumped into a wall. Foot goes behind. Hands are behind, so it's just kind of a tried to slide down the wall, didn't quite make it, rolled down the steps. Monkey ass.
And as you do, and as you all hear the scuffling immediately stop as he falls and you hear boom, 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 monkey ass. You also then hear tink, tink, tink as the dagger has left your hand. Oh, what is this? How did you? I saw your hands.
Well, you obviously didn't search me well enough, you stupid orc.
He takes a hood and just shoves it over your head, ties it tight around your neck to where you can not breathe very well.
Dang.
You're still a stupid orc.
He reaches down, grabs a rock, and just tries to stuff it into your mouth. How do you want to roll to not get your teeth knocked
Um,
It's definitely a ball gag sized rock that he would like to stick behind your teeth, but he doesn't care too much about your teeth.
it's a son of a bitch. I hate this shit.
Can you sing with the list, Sander?
I'm going to once he shoves it on and chokes me, I'm just gonna fall out face first on the ground, just
All right.
like I've passed out, and just go limp.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's say that made him a little less angry. He's gonna still roll you over and put the rock in your mouth, with less force. But your left front tooth gets, let's say, at least chipped. You don't quite know yet, but I really want to roll for this. I'll roll for it. Why not? Strong, doesn't give a shit. Only way he doesn't knock a tooth out is with a 5 or lower. And he got a 14. I'm sorry, sir. You have lost your front tooth. But you're not going to be choking on a rock because there's a garment in front of it. But it's definitely stuck behind you. Gives you a little bit of a kick as well on your way down. I rolled a 4 on that. Sorry, but take another 4 points of damage. He lifts you up. Do you walk or no? Do you regain your strength, or do you still want to continue the facade of being limp?
No, I'm limp.
All right. You can see him drop you again. You hit the ground. but he stops you from rolling down and doing any serious damage. You can then feel the strength of him as he grabs you, lifts you up with some seriousness, and throws you over his other shoulder. And begins walking down. You can feel Super's presence. You can smell the earthy tones of Super, but you cannot see him. You all get thrown in behind the bars. I'm trying to think of how bars would look in this place, to be honest with you. Tied. All right, this is what we'll do. You're thrown in a cage, a wooden cage of sorts. And as you're thrown to the ground, Xander, you specifically are listening of all the things happening. You can hear metal. You can feel on your foot, your left foot, a metal chain has been attached to your foot. The rest of you are in a similar situation. Show, you are still walking with the crew, kind of on the inside team. Are you going into the cages at all?
I'm walking with Gloria and her crew, or with these guys.
Yep. Gloria and the crew and these guys all going down.
I see. Okay. Am I going into the cages?
Are you
No,
helping
I'm
him at all? Tie him up? Or, okay.
I mean,
depart.
Yeah. If depends on who's tying him up. If everyone else is tying him up, I'll help out.
Gloria is hands free. She's not
Gloria's
doing any of the
hands-free.
dirty work.
All right. Well, and did I see Xander lose the dagger and all of that?
Roll me a perception check. Where were you in the lineup? You'd be probably by Gloria?
Yeah,
or are you
probably.
trying to keep your distance?
Well, not my most perceptive ever. That's just 3.
You did not. You must have been behind the rest of this crew and just the sound of scuffling. Almost like you're in a casino.
Interesting.
So, Super, you awaken.
I'm sorry, you guys. I got to take a quick time out. I'll be back as soon as possible.
No worries. Show Gloria and you don't know his name. Show Gloria and the orc begin to walk away. Bars are now shut. You're all in a room together. You don't entirely know what happened. Namina, you don't know who that fucking masked guy was or where he came from, but you do know invisibility spells and things have happened. You saw Xander get the shit beat out of him pretty good and is now motionless. Super, you just start to wake up and find that your foot is bound and you're tied. And, well, the last thing you remember are your eyes shutting and your ice knife exploding. And at some point, we should have a dialogue here, and I think that this is going to be the place.
Xander, are you okay? Super, are you awake?
5 more minutes.
I don't think we have 5 more minutes right now, bud.
Yeah, what's going on?
Who was that guy? Where did he come from?
Mm-hmm.
Where's Show?
Mm-hmm.
Stop mumbling, Xander. Speak up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna see if I can shimmy over to him and look to see about his rock mouth situation.
Yeah, I'd see if I can do the same. I don't know how far away I am or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah, you both shimmy over, and you find that your foot gets, and you're not able to make it. Give me a strength roll.
Strength check or
Fucking garbage. It's not going to be good. 5 total.
Super, you immediately think if you really want the rock out, you're going to have to saw your leg off. And then Like that's just what you think. And then Namina is as you're considering that.
Are we still bound arms behind?
Yes. Namina, you're able to pull what seems like a large metal ball that your chain is attached to.
Okay.
Just enough. And after a while, you're able to work over to Xander. Your arms are still tied?
About that. I think I'm gonna try to use my kitty cat claws and cut him.
Give me a sleight of hand check. Probably need a 17.
Oh man, I have disadvantage.
11.
God dang it. Man, if I didn't have disadvantage, that would have been awesome. However, I don't. It was a 13.
Okay. You're unable to right now, and as you try to get at them, your hands start to cramp after about 10, 20 minutes. Your hands start to cramp just trying to do those minute movements, and you're just not able to get your claw in the right place. I'd say you're at disadvantage for dexterity stuff now, but you kind of already are. At least for the next few minutes, if anything happens. Super.
I will turn into a bunyip.
You're now a bunyip.
Yay! I'm assuming like the stuff that I'm tied to kind of like fall off me or whatever.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you absorb it or not? Huh. Well, what I can tell you is you can absorb the hand things because you're kind of wearing that. The ball and chain, let's say you shrink and you're still like instead of around your leg because that wouldn't fit. It's just around you by complete happenstance. Yeah,
right.
But you're able to squeak out.
Okay, cool.
And you make it free.
And I will go over to Namina, and he's tied by ropes, right?
Yes, leather.
And I'll start like gnawing at the ropes at his hands.
Okay, hell yes, Namina. It didn't take you 20 minutes. It only took you 18.
Nice.
When Super found out that he could do this, he did. And your hands are free.
Cool. And then I'll start to ungag Xander.
All right. You see a drop of blood kind of come out where the rock gets pulled from his mouth.
And then I'll start taking off the potato sack and everything like that. And then I'll say, Xander, are you okay? Are you awake? And what's going on? How do you feel?
No. And he'll just kind of scoot over on his own. Just no.
Xander, this isn't. Who is that guy?
Which one?
Like the masked guy? Who is he? I don't know who he is. Where did he come from?
Well, that's Show.
Okay. That eliminates another question. Okay, now who is he disguised as?
That son of a bitch is Solomon. We killed Solomon.
Oh.
Solomon is Julian's right-hand man.
Oh. Okay. Does Gloria know that Solomon is dead?
If she did, we'd already be dead.
I guess that's fair.
Are you done?
We have to figure out a way out of here. We can't wallow.
Super in bunyip form still looks around. Is there like a desk or something like outside of the cage? Or, like what's the rest of the room look like outside of the...
It's not the typical Western prison quarters. There isn't a desk or a sleeping guard. or
Ah.
keys hanging on the wall.
Blasted.
It is a very empty cave with a really tall ceiling outside of the cage, though. It's a really tall ceiling, and it kind of dips down to this pocket in the rock where they've made the cave or made the wooden sticks to this cage, just because of its ease, right? There is no door to this room either. It goes down to a long and very narrow hallway that turns left, and you can't see past that. But scurrying over there, as I would assume you might,
Right.
you see light a very long ways down, a dark corridor, and maybe as my so here you're good. Maybe some different routes left and right, though the darkness of the cave, it makes it really tough to see. Sparkmaster, you've been alone for some time. Up in the room, it sounds like they have all left. What would you like to do up there?
Am I 100% certain everybody's left?
No, you're never 100% of anything in this world.
I want to listen, put my ear to the door, listen very carefully, and try to convince myself that there's nobody there. Do I hear anything when I listen
Yes.
at all?
As you do listen, you do hear. And then some mumbling. It doesn't seem to be from the next room.
Is the door unlocked?
You reach for it. It is. It reaches over. You catch. Do you have dark vision?
I do not.
It is pitch
I don't
black.
think so. Okay, so I can't see anything in there.
You see 6 glowing yellow eyes in a corner from the reflection of the torch in the room that you're in.
Glowing yellow eyes.
You only catch them because they blinked.
Are they small eyes?
They are. It's about goblin eyes. You've had a close enough connection that there are 3 goblins of some sort in this room.
And goblins have dark vision.
Yes.
So they would definitely
Alright,
see
well-
me.
Yes. And you see them looking at you.
So they see me now. They see me already.
They do.
Okay. Are they're not making any noise?
Not at the moment.
Now I've got the map that basically tells me where I think the holding cell is. Are the goblins kind of in the path to, if I wanted to head in that direction and I'm going
They're
right by
not.
the goblins? They're not.
They're the opposite side of the room.
Got it.
It's a pretty big room, about 40 feet, maybe 60 feet long. I actually have that room right here. Yeah.
Do I have any sense
I'd
for
say
exactly
maybe
what
80
the
feet.
goblins are doing over there?
They're looking at you.
They're just looking at me.
All you can see is their eyes.
Well, I'm gonna head down that spiral staircase. And if they make a sound,
just as you go out into that room, suddenly you hear those goblins just erupt. Coming closer to them, you start to hear heavy breathing that starts a panting that starts to get louder and louder as you kind of come closer. You're going to go to the middle of the room and take a right. They're off to the far left corner. You can just hear a panting that gets higher and higher and louder as they come. And as soon as you turn away, you just hear a loud shrieking and then chains pulling as they try to reach out to you, but they get caught by the chains themselves. Puts an adrenaline rush straight down your spine of some sort.
And
You're
how
able to
far
move
am I
past
from them?
About 20 feet.
Okay. I will continue moving past them towards the.
You can end them if you or anything in your head would like you to.
It is tempting, but I feel I have more important matters to attend to. Perhaps we will end them on the way back.
As you stare at the doorway to a spiral staircase, much in the same way that the hole into this cavern that got you here draws you. As you walk down, time itself begins to speed up almost like a dream where you get flashes of the moments of going down the spiral staircase. It's a long spiral staircase. It's dark. You don't see much. But you're able to push down and just in moments kind of get lost. Is this really a dream in your head? Are you just spinning, or is this did somebody make a spiral staircase really this long? And then finally, you set foot on the ground, look up into a very long hallway. Hear a scurrying rodent. And that's where we'll end tonight's episode of Shawshank Adventures. We'll see you next time. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see if these guys get butchered and quartered and eaten. Who is Shotutatu really? Is he actually on the dark side? What about this guy with a demon inside of his head? He's awake, but is he going down for his friends? Or a giant weapon to end this earth? We'll find out maybe next time, or the time after that, or eventually when we come down to the really crux of this whole campaign 4 years from now. Until then, this has been Shawshank Adventures.
Oh, yeah.